Good day to you, Guyana, and welcome to another edition of Facing the Nation. I am Malika Ramsey. Thank you very much for joining us. You know, every week I come and I like to thank you for the feedback that we get. And I know a lot of you were impressed with the sentiments from the mayor of Bartica. Of course, we had him on the week before last week, and there was a rebroadcast last week. So he takes all your sentiments and he appreciates it. And of course, he asks that you all keep praying for him because, you know, we have to pray, for our leaders. They're human beings just like everyone else. So it is always necessary to pray for them and support them in whichever way that we possibly can. Well, I'm going to continue on the note of governance and politics and so on today. I have a young lady on this program. She's new to this program in this season. She's not new to Guyana. I can say this, I advertised it on my Facebook page earlier. You know, most weeks I say who's coming up. And one woman inboxed me to say, oh, and I think she even commented saying, well, you made my day since this is my girl that you're having. People call her a fireball. It is my pleasure to welcome her to because and the reason I'm stressing on these things like the fireball and how some people are happy because in a time when we're dealing with I'm going to try not to stress about him too much today. Every week, I have to come here and I bring statements from the government to respond to the opposition leader. I'm going to try not to stress on him today, but this is a sort of fire and vigor and in some cases aggression that people expect, especially when we're fighting that. So it is my pleasure to welcome for the first time to Facing the Nation. I can't recall if she was here when we were in opposition, but since we're in government, this is the first time that she's coming on Facing the Nation. It is my pleasure to welcome the minister, the Honorable Minister within the Ministry of Natural Resources, the Honorable Simona Broomes. Welcome to Facing the Nation, and thank you for accepting our invitation, ma'am.
Thank you, Malika. It's a pleasure always.
All right. Great to have you. You have been everywhere this week. You're so busy. I even said in a grumbling tone to a colleague, oh my goodness, I wanted an exclusive and she waited until the week when I asked her to do press with so many people. But nevertheless, we are so happy that you're out there. We have lots to talk about. Unfortunately, we're coming at a time when we're still battling a certain political and governmental situation. But because I know, I'm very aware, and the public is aware too, that you have been a minister that, for want of a better term, you're very social and you're out there. And I want to start off on a very sad note. Earlier in the week, viewers, we read about that accident in Linden that took two very young people, and that was horrific. And the reason I'm starting this way is because Minister Broomes actually came to this program not too long after visiting with those relatives and friends there in Linden. Minister, I'd like you to talk about not only, the mood and so on in terms of the families who have lost. I know, viewers, the mood should be obvious. I know some of you are saying that, but I still want to hear it from the minister, as someone who just came from visiting them, and your sentiments and, exactly on what else can we do to stop this sort of this road carnage. Let's hear from you, Minister.
Yes, Malika, thank you indeed. In fact, I left early because I had a 10 o'clock, so I left home about 5 something. I was there very early. I met the parents, the mother of the boy and the mother and the father of the young lady.
Okay.
I think it is really heartbreaking for them, and the fact that, the accident was horrible, that now I think maybe when it's time for burial, they wouldn't even be able to open them.
Wow.
How the vehicle, because apparently like when the vehicle hit them, to run on them and crush certain parts of their bodies and so forth. So again, my condolence goes out to them. I looked at it, I saw it. I do have a passion for young people and people in general. And I said, I called the family before. I searched around, everybody got a number, and I called them to reach out to them to give my condolences and so forth. But when I spoke with them on the phone, it felt so sad. I said, oh, I'm going to come and see you.
Right.
I must stop by to see you.
The phone wasn't enough.
Right, the phone just wasn't enough. So I went there this morning. At the boy mother, we arranged that I would meet both parents there. I took 2 wreaths because I would not be able to make it for the funeral, so that they can lay the wreaths for these 2 young people for me. The mood, of course, is one of mourning, and I believe that in times of sorrow, joy, we have to be with our people. I have to be with them. So I went there to spend at least a few hours with them in the morning. It's, a sad feeling. You look at these parents,
And I
you
know
hear
you're
the
a
mother.
mother too.
Exactly. When you hear this mother talk about her children, her husband died, and how,
Wow.
this young man and, the young lady, her mother and father spoke about her and her kindness and what a child she was. So the feeling there is one of mourning. At this time, the MP, Figueroa, joined me there also.
Okay.
And we were raising several different discussions. And the whole subject and the issue came that this is not the first time people are losing their lives there. And how about, I was saying that people talking about putting a policeman. I said, no, put a sleeping police in which we call speed hump.
The speed humps.
At both ends, so that when person's coming,
You
they
have
have to
to
slow
slow.
down, because you have to remember that persons will be coming out and going into those community all the time. It's a ward. And so I think that is something that the police agree to, and they're going to raise it with the Minister of Public Infrastructure. At least it is so impactful, and the morning is so deep with this too, that I believe, and they too believe, it's time to draw a line.
Right.
We have to do something. We know where Guyana is heading, Linden and all of it, can get traffic lights and so forth.
Yeah, but in the interim,
In the interim, and even if you have lights, you got to stop. You should have something there that reminds you got to stop. And with the hump, you have to stop. Some people say, I didn't see the sign, but I mean, if you miss the hump,
you
I mean,
can't,
if you
because
ever
you're gonna
drive,
help to damage your vehicle.
it have to
if
damage
you
your
miss it.
vehicle, and then you get a good lash to the head at the top sometimes. You don't want that for yourself. So it's a sad feeling, but I'm happy that I was there, able to make it with the family and so forth. They were very, very receptive, and it's just that.
Minister, I want to take a slight of a negative spin now. And the reason, again, because, and I did explain to you earlier, this is one of the ministers who has gotten a reputation for being very social. One of the criticisms this government faced, I mean, aside from the recent outreaches and so on, one of the criticisms this government faced upon entering into office is that, okay, all right, and viewers, I'm going to talk as how we talk on the street. We don't see y'all, it's only when y'all want votes we see y'all. You have been doing a lot of movement. What are some of the things probably you think need to be put in place for us to see more of that? Not only from a Simona Broomes, but again, and I always tell people, sometimes people don't necessarily want to see if it's a minister give me 5,000, or they say minister give me a green. They want to see you, to touch, to feel accepted, and people understand and remember. Look, that we're all human too. What are some of the things that you think we need to do to bridge that? What is seemingly, an opening gap between government and the people, or not even just government, but officials, elected officials and their people?
Well, as for me, I think the times has changed, and
Okay.
know that our supporters are different. We have been in opposition for 20-something years. So our supporters don't know about seeing any minister taking your problems and all of that. And outside of our
Gotcha.
supporters, a lot of Guyanese people, you would not have just bumped into Simona Broomes riding a bicycle or showing up in your backyard, even if you were a supporter of the government. So it's something that is new to Guyana.
Okay.
And the reason why I mention support is because everybody, you have your people who supported you to put you into office. And I want to make that very clear. It does not matter, depends on any race. Every race got to come together when they give you that vote and get you into office. And so our supporters, because of their situation, they feel that, listen, we knew we come into office and we got to keep on the ground. As for me, I think that I owe it as a minister. I took an oath. Regardless of which ministry I'm in, I took an oath to serve the people of Guyana. That is very, very, very fundamental. I don't do oaths for doing oaths' sake. So once I take that oath, Malika, and I get into office, I have to serve the people. So I have to be out there.
I must jump in here because I'm happy that you specifically said you took the oath, and regardless of which ministry you function in, because I even had a colleague who said to me, which minister, Simona Broomes again? Because it is refreshing because natural resources, we expect mining and all of that, and you have been championing the cause, especially for young women, violated young women in those communities for a very long time. So now to see you, and I know I'm going to get you to talk about this too. You were earlier, and I know Minister's doing a lot of press now. You were earlier in the week talking about I think it's kite flying and so on. So we'll come to that. But I'm happy you mentioned, regardless of which ministry you were placed in, you feel that you have a mandate to serve the people.
Definitely. I mean, that is the oath. I did not take the oath to say I swear to serve minors or the people in construction. It's the people of Guyana. Very, very fundamental, and that's a fact. And so, regardless of what, I'm in natural resources. I mean, the miners know I'm one of the easiest person solving problems every day with miners because I understand, I know the miners, I understand the industry, I know about the act, the regulations, the SOPs and everything. So it's very natural for me to serve in the natural resources. It's natural for me also to serve the people because this is who I am. This is me all my life. And so taking office, I feel that I can function better when I'm more informed. And I don't only need to be informed by the technical people in the ministry that advise me or sit down and the policy and put out the best policy without knowing how is this policy working? Is it effective enough? Is it reaching the people that it intend to reach and things like that? So when you're on ground, you get that one-on-one. So even when somebody tell me about Sophia, oh, Minister, I wanted to see you because why don't you come to Sophia and see you? So I say, you don't live in Sophia. I've done all the fields in Sophia. In fact, I was in Sophia last week. She said, no, my mother lived there. And I visited. I said, okay, now.
Right. Now you're being honest.
Because now you're being honest. Don't come attacking me about Sophia. I've been to Sophia several times. And so I think it is very, very, very important that you touch the lives of the people. We go out there and see what is happening. People need advice. People need situation. And I believe if you see the situation firsthand, it is different than somebody come and bring it to you. Yeah, I was passing through an area like I would normally do, ride in the area, talk to people. I noticed a yard, big yard, open. I ride in there, find out. And
As
what
in
I
ride,
learned,
as in a bicycle.
a bike. And just to find out that the place named Housing Compound. So right away I called my minister. She said, Housing Compound, I don't know about that. And today Minister Patterson and I, we went back there to the people for the first time. And
Nice.
solution, how do I know the place? If I was just at home, I mean, you know nothing. So it brings its benefits, allow you to reach the people in who you're there to serve. And so that is what it is all about. And I love it. I mean, I enjoy it. My whole life, that is how I was raised. And so I do enjoy it, and I think, it makes people talk to you
Appreciate.
differently when they meet you on the road and by the back step than when they come to the office. Sometimes they don't even come. And when they come with this whole perception, like they got to be, they want to say it right, they want to do it right, and you know what I mean? But it's very natural when you meet with them, but and you get more. And you get that genuine feedback. Okay, you got some people say, Minister girl, I tell you the truth, they get so comfortable.
Yeah.
And I like that. I tell you the truth. I ain't happy I is one that said this and that because I still like y'all neglect me. And they would start to abuse you in a decent way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not to say, just being frank.
Yes.
And I like that because then I don't leave there thinking that all is bright and beautiful. I know
that there's things to be fixed.
That there's things to be fixed.
Okay.
Which is very important.
All right, great. Viewers, if you're now tuning in today, my conversation is with Minister within the Ministry of Natural Resources, the Honorable Simona Broomes. Of course, we have lots more to get to. Minister Broomes, because of your social characteristic, there are people who love you. On the other hand, as in, I think every human being, there are people who dislike you, and you're laughing already because you know where I'm going with this. Now, since we've took office, and I think this has been happening before in whatever area, viewers, you know me, on this program, we don't embarrass guests. What I want to talk about now, how have you coped with many of the negatives? And viewers, the reason I said that is because we're not going into any specific things. Most of you know some of the things would have been played out in the public domain. So, Minister, how have you also dealt with the not only negative press, but negatives from people, for the way things happened and the way things would have been interpreted. How have you dealt with that, and how challenging it would have been for you with all of that, still going on the ground and saying to people, and even though in your mind you know very well that there are people who want to see you and there are people who may not want to see you because so and so was said or so and so played out in the public domain. How have you dealt with all of that?
Well, I think one of the first things, let me be quite honest, I think knowing God really makes challenges different for me, because the challenges, I use them to motivate me. I believe people have a right. People reject Christ. I think people have a right. Some people who likes you, some people who don't like you. That mixture really helps you to be a better person if you take it in a positive way. I don't intend to go after or just don't like the people that don't like me. I mean, I love them anyhow. Just a few days ago, I was not even at home. There was some incident outside the house where I live. I maintain that area, but in the area of itself, a few persons there that had some robberies and so forth. Persons coming pretending to fishing and whatever. So there's signs up there about the fishing, and the men come with the net. They're out of order. They come from all over. Pull the garbage, throw it out there, but mainly because of security reason. And I was not even home, and I just want to share this because of how things happen. And apparently, the officer probably speak to a young man, and the young man probably got verbal with the police. I was not there. But something happened, and the young man went home to his mother, and the mother, one day, I'm sitting there, and a woman came to me. Told the officer, not officer, she's here to me to apologize for something that her son done. Now, I didn't even know what happened, but he told her to come back the other morning because it was late. And so the other morning I went downstairs and the lady came and she brought this boy to apologize. So I'm finding out what is he apologizing for. And then I learned the story. I was moved first thing by this mother. And this young man that she brought was a grown young man. And he admitted that he cursed the police and so forth. The police just tell him to move. And then what's the man in a uniform? Why are you going to be this? Go and apologize to him. Malika, the lady said when she heard the story, they start abuse. Broomes going on, she owned the area, like she owned the fishing. Some people said this, how she stay, and people just start to go on. But her sister said, listen, no, I tell you something. I don't know this woman in person, but I follow she on the Facebook. Why don't you go and see if you see the woman? She said, not she, the one I want, anyhow she came. The woman met me, and in fact, Sunday when I have the event, she's making egg ball and all that. I'm buying some egg balls from her. She was blown away that her sister, she told me, I didn't even know, made a post on the Facebook of gratitude. And she said, that is the reason why, when people talk about somebody, you got that whole perception. And so she had this perception about me. But she said, she got a story now that she went back herself and telling the whole neighborhood, you don't even know the lady, girl. We sit down here talking, you got to meet the lady. And now she's inviting me over to where she's living to come and meet the people in her neighborhood. So that is how it works sometimes. That's why when I said how you blend it, because even if people sometimes have the wrong impression, when they get the right one, then it opens up. You know what I mean? And as a leader, that is how you build relationships, genuine relationship. That is how you get to know your people more. People would say all kind of things. Malika, be it you talk from the boom out. I was on another program, and I'm happy happening all the time. And I had to say, listen, it was not in Parliament, it was in a public building, which is named the Parliament Building. But some people were offended. What can I say to that? You're offended and you think that the minister should not do that. I'm not upset. I did nothing wrong. If I did nothing wrong and I offended you, it's nothing that I did to hurt you, but people are like that. The incident with the parking lot, I tell people that nobody, even the other day I was live, I am not a hooligan. I'm not an idiot. Yeah, I am very frank. I'm not nobody that nobody writes over. But
that's
I'm
why I
very
use the
humble
word
person.
aggression.
Exactly, and so we will talk about the aggression and things like that. But I think it really, that night in question, it was really, it's so really good because I was so calm. I was not even well. And I just thank God because it was allowed to happen and people said all these kind of things. I was never disrespected in my life. Never, and I'm going to say this publicly, I was never, and not every day I will be a minister, and I do have evidence, I do have the facts. And because I was a minister and because I'm from a government, I did not speak thinking you got to get permission from government and you got to wait before government and all kinds of things was peddled out there. I still have the recording with the people who own the place apologizing to me and all kind of different things. But you know what? I look, people call me all kinds of names and say all kinds of things about me. Yes, I did move the chair. I was in the park. It was horrible. That guy cursed me not from the downstairs till upstairs into that restaurant. As a woman, as a businesswoman, nobody, the amount of disrespect I think I take since I come into office, I think that is a process that God has really taken me through because outside of office, never, I mean, I'm any hooligan, but it happens. And what I do for me, I take it to motivate me. People, not only that, people send letters and people write and lie to you all to the president, right? People, if they see you with a lady, people nowadays say it's like she with this lady. You got to drive her if it's a male, and people write letter and send in WhatsApp and send around to people and say, listen, put this outside but Minister Broomes. That she's a this and that she's a that. And some people get and say, man, look, this person just sent it to me. I'm like, wow. So outside of what is there publicly, I mean, Malika, people write my name on a coffin. Honorable Simona Broomes. I had several death threats and all of that. Write my name on a coffin and then send. When you do find out, I mean, it's a whole lot of things. But I want to make the point that I come to understand in public life, people say the truth about you to destroy you, and also people lie upon you to destroy you. But like I said it before, that I was born by a woman, but I was not created by human beings. And so human beings will not be able to destroy me. Because who I am, I have to continue. I can't say, listen, I'm not going to go there because somebody did this and somebody did that to me. It is horrible. Some of the things, it is so ugly. You know what I mean? But what can you do? I mean, as a woman, a mother, you're into politics. I didn't say, well, I want to be any minister and all of that. I had my organization that I formed. I spent so much, did so much out there with it, and just made that leap because it just happened. It just happened.
I'm happy, Minister, that you touched on the horrible things that I have to say we, because sometimes you like to think, oh, I don't say this about this
Yeah,
person.
yeah,
And I can tell you,
yeah.
you just get
Yeah.
a person angry when they say anything. So I'm happy that you touched on that. The reason being, we're in an era whereby some of us can't do without social media, especially Facebook. And I like to call them cowards with keyboards. It is very easy for you to go on a keyboard and say something horrible or do something. How do you believe that has affected society, especially young people, especially young women? Because, and I've seen this so many times, and sometimes I even get a little irritated with my own government in terms of ministers. I know they have other things to do than to be looking and seeing what's happening on social media, but I believe that we need to come up with something whereby, and viewers, I'm not trying to take away anybody's freedom of expression and freedom of speech, but sometimes the things you see on social media, especially, you see women fighting each other and making videos and going live to curse out each other. How has that affected our society? And do you think we can get to a stage whereby we find a way to, even if not stop that, reduce it?
Well, I think, what has been happening, to be quite honest, with social media, it could allow a person to even destroy themselves and feel good because they feel they get a like for it. Not knowing that you're destroying yourself. You see women calling them their own self names and behaving in all kind of behavior. And because of the viewership, they feel that they're becoming a celebrity. For me, as a woman, I mean, when it comes to government, I said the other day, I think the persons who deliberately just go there because the keyboard is so easily and somebody enable Wi-Fi and all of that. Somebody would just write anything. I want to attack Malika and put something about Malika. Sometimes it even coming from a news agency. It coming somebody not with a fake page.
And those you can't
deliberately. And when persons take persons to the court, like if it's a joke, I think the court, should take it really serious. And the police, and how do we hold persons accountable? People use Facebook. I was upset. I saw a woman beating up a man, right? that is abusing that man in the public. And everybody felt good and it just go viral.
Yeah, like
But if it was a man doing that, the man would go and find the man and arrest him. Right? And I don't believe that abuse in our society, be
Yeah.
it male or female, is something that should be allowed. And it is twice the time before I saw it happen somewhere in the market and so forth. I mean, what are you doing to yourself? But if that man had only reacted, all rooms. Sometimes I didn't see that in social media, but the man had reacted. So I want to say that the type of violence and the type of behavior and so on that is taking place in our society, for our young people, I see there's a young girl even in Jamaica talking about how she's 18 and she got this baby when she was 13 and so on, and she carried on. I want to encourage our young people. Social media is a lot of perception. And that is why it makes it so easy for somebody to try to go out there to tarnish your reputation. Because once they throw that perception out there, some people didn't even read what is out there. They just see something and they
One
just
word.
or look at what somebody commented and said, and they run with that.
That's it. Yeah.
Right? They don't even know what's happening. But somebody comment and say X and they just put the Y and go back to A and things like that. So I think that perception out there, how can you really use that same social media to better yourself? You know what I mean?
Understood.
You got talent, you have your room, you have your space and things like that. How do you use it? So I think that is something very challenging, but it will become something major for discussion in governments.
Okay.
Be it when. Because it is damaging, they got definition of character. You got things that the police also can use to charge persons and then put them before the court. So there are things that is happening right now that people can report to the police, and that when they report it to the police, that people react. I even see two people in a relationship, and the relationship gets sour. And they try to blackmail people and do all kinds of things. I mean, people say, but I want to say to young people, man, if the man asks you for no picture, he really like you. But being said, man, Broomes, you all already going on with you. Maybe there's a style. But I said, no, if you see me, why you want a picture?
Exactly.
Why all these videos and things like that?
Right? Why would you
So
store that?
it is horrible. And so the minds of our young people, so much of things that they could consume that it is not so, is not through, put some young people in a confusing situation. Some girl dress up, a young lady wants somebody's body that she's seen on social media, but nothing that this lady got on her body is not hers.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then sometimes they feel ugly about themselves and they want to drink poison. And instead of chubby, I mean, I feel too chubby right now. I ain't going to drink poison. I change my diet and I got to get some serious work. It's the most weight. But, I love me.
Exactly.
You understand what I mean? I mean, I fluffy. I know to trim myself down. I got to do. But some young girls out there look at themselves and, say, listen, I don't like myself. When they look at the complexion, start beating up on the low self-esteem. And they just take it to another level. Sometimes the parents don't even know. And they're pining away because everybody they see out there, they don't even know it's a bag of makeup, so you know what I mean, that you got on a set of this and set of that. Sometimes your hearing belongs to you, eyes belongs to you, lipping belongs to you, nothing. But there's somebody out there, you're looking at that perception of what is beauty. She's beautiful more than I do. I counsel a young girl. And when she came and, the person that she showed me coming, the mother leave her, she was showing me, when I look at the lady, I said, do you believe this is this woman?
Right.
Yeah.
And then there you see, apart from the things that you're talking about, the hair and the eyes and so on, the unfortunate thing is we have apps that can do that.
Yes.
And
shape you up nicely.
Shape you, can change your complexion and all of that. So what you're saying is very true.
And some people, they just go after it. Some people live from nowhere. Yeah. Just trying to take a picture. And then put it on social media. You think this person have and you don't have.
That's why we have to talk
so
to
it's a
girls.
Perception. It got its positive and it got more negatives to it. I want to encourage, and warn persons about the negatives. These are conversations. I mean, the program is a short one, but these are conversations that we need to have. We need to have for the boys. We need to have for the girls. We need to have for the women. I think it's a very, very interesting topic.
Okay, Minister, before we, because obviously viewers, we know, I must ask the Minister about, how she has coped and her sentiments on the current political situation in government. I'm calling it a situation because the leader of the opposition has turned it into a situation and tried to throw this nation into some amount of chaos. But before we talk about that, before you became Minister Broomes, you were known, and you still are, for working in mining communities, that sector, and ensuring our girls and our women are safe and doing whatever you can do. As becoming a minister, I mean, this is apart from the social, your social movements that we have discussed before. Has becoming a minister taken you, and I know you're in the Ministry of Natural Resources now, has that in any way taken you away from what you would have been doing before?
All right, well, Malika, let me tell you quite frankly, one of the things I said, I'm not going to lose myself in the instrument,
Okay.
which is that honorable minister.
Okay.
Before I took office, I did not only work in communities in the mining town. I work with a lot of people all over this country. Georgetown, all over. I met so many young people, so many parents. The police used to send parents to me. Parents sometimes lost their children. They come to me, the young girl got missing, and all kinds of different things. And for me, this is who I am. Be it in the instrument, I will not lose myself. I continue to do. That is why when I was at Labor, I could have done things naturally. When I took office, I was educated by the staff. They said, listen, this is the entrance for the staff, and this is the entrance for the minister. It says, so this is the entrance for the minister. For the staff, where's the entrance for the public?
Public.
They said, this is the entrance for the public. So I said, why this entrance? They said, oh, I don't see all kind of different protocols. They outlined to me. But I never really did the stairs for the minister unless it was pitch dark night. I come out of the office and I was the lone person. Because when I get to my office, Malika, and I take that nice entrance, listen, some people waiting to see the minister, right? But they pretend like they see you. Hi, minister, how are you morning? By the time you say, how are you? I used to say, oh, minister, I got a problem. And I went here about 10 times before you even reach into your office. You know how much matters are solved? And you know exactly the function of your ministry as a minister who's responsible. The performance and, what is expected of the staff if they're doing a lot of different things. So I would deliberately use that stair because there's where I belong. I need to meet with the people. I need to see the people. So even in doing that, going to work, very, very simple, some things that people overlook. Because they got they got different entrance. Right? So that when you get there, I did it on purpose. And I'm not saying that you're supposed to do it. I mentioned to you that is a protocol. So I did not allow that to take away from me. I born and grew in Bartica. When I go to Bartica, I walk all along the road, this body high, stop here, this shop. I'm born and grew in Bartica. Nothing has changed. You see, I born Simona Charles. I got Broomes by marriage. You would not always be a minister. So what are you going to do when you finish with this job? What? You're living in cloud nine, or when you finish on this job, where? It is one guy, and that is why I serve and I put in, because what you put in, what you receive. If you're there, if you're a policeman and you're condoning crime and this and that and that and that, when your time finishes as a police, the society that you're going back to is one of crime. That's what you contributed. You wouldn't find anything different. As a minister, I think if we try to push, everybody will do their piece. And you push for unity, you push for this, that is the type of society that you're contributing into. So when you're done, at least for me, I played my part. I did what was expected. I served the people. I'm all over. I did not say, Malika, I'm too busy. You coming to me with a housing problem. I'm not the minister of housing.
You take on every.
I'm going to say, listen, darling, I'm going to put you, if somebody write me with a housing matter, I say refer to the minister responsible, and I copy them on it. Yeah? Because, I don't have the answer. I'm not going to tell you it too, but I'm going to refer you
the
there. The avenue and what is as best as I know, and get you to the office. Sometimes a staff going to put you on and so forth. It is not as difficult. The work, it's time consuming, it's tough and all of that, but it all boils back to your passion, that the heartbeat.
And once you have a people passion.
So I think that you take in office, you should have that heart for people. It really makes a big difference.
All right, Minister, eventually I'm going to want to ask you. Of course, you would know what is happening if there are updates and so on you would want to give from the ministry at this time. But before we do that, I must ask you the current governmental and political situation. In December, we all know what happened in December in the National Assembly. Because of one vote and greed, a man who felt that he had he can hold this nation at ransom. We ended up with a no confidence motion. We had the back and forth, the 33-34, and it reached to a stage where we have the leader of the opposition coming every week to be very disrespectful and all of that. Has any of this affected you as a minister? And how do you feel? What do you want Guyanese to know at this point in time when we're, because I have to say we're still dealing with it, because I am not sure what really the opposition leader is fighting, but that's his democratic right. But we're still dealing with a lot. What do you want the public to know at this time about the APNU AFC government? Not only the APNU AFC government, the People's National Congress reform that is a part of the APNU AFC government, and the APNU and all of that, our entire political and governmental environment at this point.
Well, Malika, I think, quite frankly, when we talk about the Judas motion, I think as a nation, I disagree, and I want to say it on every program, every time it comes up, I disagree to betrayal. Yeah? I disagree with that. But coming out from that, the conversations, the information that is there, the interpretation of the Constitution, for me, as somebody new to government and politics, and sitting in that parliament when that happened, the part for me I'm zooming in and pay attention to, and Guyanese, we should focus on a lot of young people, is that aspect of the Constitution and the interpretation. It speaks to dual citizenship. It speaks because Guyana is in a position where, you know, could be the wealthiest country in the hemisphere. We got the quality of oil that we have and all of that. And so it is just beyond Guyana and Guyanese people. It's globally all kinds of different interests and all of that. And I think the conversation started and the interpretation of the laws, it's going to the CCJ. I'm really interested in seeing that process.
Okay.
So that as a people, not as a party, be it the whoever opposition or government, but as a people, as a nation, where is Guyana? Where we should be? What lesson we can learn out of it? How could we protect Guyana? Brings another conversation. You think anybody should sit down in the parliament who could just throw Guyana in a tantrum and just jump on a plane and leave? I mean, a lot of different things. How vulnerable we are as a people.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it shows that. For me, it scared me a little in terms that, we got this oil and gas and all of that.
Exactly. This could happen. Yeah.
Somebody could have taken money, switched this whole place up.
And
We could have become a colony of all kinds of different things started to go through my mind as a person, as a Guyanese.
Why was it so easy?
You know what I mean? Why was it so easy? You understand? Oh, we're in this fake. We thought that we're doing, we're advancing. But we're so vulnerable. We're so vulnerable as a people. So I want young people to focus on that aspect of it rather than the whole rhetoric.
Yes, and the constant
And the whatever.
bantering.
Because you see, people talk when they know they have an audience.
Yes.
And I think that, you're pointing finger, I don't really call certain names in my mouth, people. But then, why are you giving them the audience? How did I cope? I don't give the audience. I don't know anything. I don't know. Somebody called me, girl, here's Ma said something, but you said, bless the Lord anyhow. It means I exist. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't want to know. All right? I would want to know if it was, decent debates and so on, although I'm a minister of government.
Right. You
To
have
see
to
what
give
is
the
coming
other
and
side.
if, give the other side some fairness, because while we were opposition, there were some things that were being done wrong, and we speaking it as an opposition with nobody paying attention. So for me, as a person, a minister in Guyanese, I would have loved to have the opportunity to hear some,
sensible debates.
a better level of debate that I could learn to say, well, listen, oh no, inside I don't understand it, or it didn't sit this way to me. It's like I sitting at a debate in the House, and I'm listening. I'm no lawyer, but in that debate, I'm sitting down there to learn what, on both sides. I hate it sometimes. I say, but what are you saying? This is not in the law. Like, so you didn't really get my attention span anymore because I sit down listening, and then when I listen out to the rebuttal, everything that you have just said just pull it out of space. So I think that for me is disappointing.
Okay.
Disappointed, but I want Guyanese to focus. If you give somebody the audience, I say to people, and they start to get on your nerves and so on, it's not the person getting your nerve, you getting yourself on your nerves. Stop giving the audience. Stop giving them that audience. Let us focus, Guyana. This is a very serious period. And I don't want the intention that they can just talk, and people will miss the important points and miss the bus. Right? Oh, we got a little politics and so forth, and you missed the bus.
And the mud, yeah, you more attention to the mudslinging and
exactly.
I understand.
I mean, Malika, you like to do interview you all day, travel around the country and all of that and so forth. These are things that we all should want to sit back and say, well, listen, as a nation and as a people, where are we? What could have happened? How we could prevent it? If a debate going forward, different debates start already. Who should be in the House and who shouldn't be in the House. That is a very important, and it's a learning experience because that is a big, big point.
Yeah.
That's a big point.
Yes.
I mean, that is another can of worm by itself. And these debates are important, but I still feel that the interests of Guyana and Guyanese people, because who's Guyana? We are Guyana because we are Guyanese people. And I think that we ought to hold that in a more serious way and don't allow party politics or anything to cloud our eyes, our minds.
Okay.
Because, the opposition, everything he said, all listener believe, no. You know what I mean? The president, if you want me to believe something, you got to bring something to me, clarity, right? And I think young people, we're robbing them of that. Just talk. Where's your facts? Where's your clarity? I got his facts. This is this. Read this, this, that. On my own, you give me the facts and I can analyze it. If you notice what happening to young people trying to rob our young people.
Yes.
Because they give you no facts. And something about Guyana,
Sure,
because we were not so patriotic in the past couple of years. So even if you go to Google and search for certain things, I mean, the archive is empty in a lot of cases for certain information. It is now, we're building. So for young people, I think that, people just want to play politics with them and just believe when you talk.
But they're fed up,
They're fed up
I
because...
have to say this. Some people say, but you're still young, yes. In some cases,
yeah, because you will get fed up.
But you get fed up of the same things just coming.
He said, what he said, what she said. What was the facts and all of that?
To support
that. Young people, Guyanese, let us look for the facts, right? If there's a problem and there's a matter, listen, you could bring Broomes. And if Broomes ain't got the facts to give you, if I don't have the facts, I can say, listen, man, I can't touch on this one, girl. I don't speak to the media and they ask me for a comment on something I'm not dealing with. And I'm just talking to sound good or put a face to the government. I'm going to say I'm not dealing with this. I don't have the answer for you. I'm sorry. I don't have the facts. As a minister of government, I got to be accountable for what I say out there. Because people take it. But Minister Broomes said that the book is black. And Minister Broomes didn't even know what book she's talking about. Right? So I try to keep it that way.
It's viewers, it's interesting how quickly time flew by, but I can't let the minister go without her touching on natural resources. As the minister within the Ministry of Natural Resources, again, you would know what is happening. I'm not sure how much you would want to put in the public domain at this time, but what are some of the interesting things happen, developmental things happen that you feel that the public may need to know at this time?
I think for natural resources, people talk about a lot of people in Guyanese, don't pay interest in natural resources.
That's a problem.
People just now focusing on oil and gas. All the years, they see natural resources as gold and diamond, and miners is not this, and miners this. They pollute the environment and all the negative things that comes with it. But the natural resources sector, you have forestry, you have mining and all of that. Now we're looking at all the other minerals outside of gold and diamond. The exploration project, I think, is a big project for Guyana. And then as a nation, I think we're behind time a lot in terms of the natural resources because we should have had that exploration done and already move into quantification, meaning to know the value, what is the amount of gold we have in Guyana and the value of it. It's just like a company come in, if I want to break it down a little bit, like
Yes.
Guyana Goldfield come in and they come and get an acre, 5 acre, or 1,200 acre, 1,000 acre of land.
Okay.
They would have had to do prospecting to know if it got gold, where it is. And then to know how much gold is there before they could go to the stock market and so forth to get money off of it.
Okay.
So as a company, if a company can come in and do that for their business and know, as a nation, shouldn't we know
Yeah.
where we have gold and how much diamond and if it's we have lithium, how much was the worth of it, what is the value, just like how we know how much billion barrel of oil and how much money for the oil and this and that and how much money we have. As to natural resources, we don't have that. In fact, when we took office up to now, in terms of land ownership, GGMC sorting that out, an application. So we
We're still
trying to
behind.
advance.
And
We're
catching
still
up.
behind. I have no apologies about this. When you go overseas and you go to make presentations and how these people present, I mean they have all these facts, but we don't, and that is a big area that I think is well covered up. That the government now is pushing to have a lot of these things. We do know that yes. A lot of people know that the level of corruption that we took, and people still talk about corruption and so on at GGMC. I'm not here to put my head on any table and tell you to get no cut loss and take it off. I'm not going there. But to say that it is a work in progress and a lot has been done in forestry, when we look at our forest that is untouched, we're doing really well, and we're doing fine in terms of that. So at the Ministry of Natural Resources right now, it's a lot of layout. I'm the minister within the ministry. My responsibility, I don't really have a full portfolio of dealing with any specific
Specifics.
area and things like
Understood.
that. I will do a lot of overseeing. I was working, the last thing I was doing, working there with the small miners, with the syndicate. That is wrapped up and so forth.
Okay.
Outside of that, the role as a Gazette speak, the minister within the ministry is to assist the minister, with whatever
yeah,
area
and you're
and so
there to
forth.
give
I
the
was dealing with
supporting role.
an area that was not touched in decades, which was loam and sand, because I mentioned all the other minerals and stone. To look at where we are in terms of the sand. People just moving tons of sand, loam, and all of that, making billions of dollars. It was not properly accounted for. People in pain is $15 a ton. People in pain is very loose. Yeah? A very loose situation. I did myself travel, looked at them, look at what we have, put forward recommendations and so forth. And in fact, the people in that sector, they themselves were pleased. They said people say it's tough, but they were happy because I called them in to see how we can work. Not only what they're not doing, but to have their opinion
On it, yeah.
what is it that we can do also,
And
and
how
they
can
put
be
their fair share
comfortable.
to the table exactly because
Okay.
if you're working in the sector, you have to work with the people. In the sector, you can't sit down without working with the people and pushing things like that.
Okay.
So that was an area that really needed to be addressed. And there's a lot more now with some of these townships that is opening up, and
Yeah.
how do we treat mining in these areas. You do have some challenging areas and so forth. And that is what is happening. The ministry is involved in a lot of road works and different things like that. So in the Ministry of Natural Resources, they do have a lot of things that was done, and a lot of things still
Still to
to
be.
be done. Some of them is a work in progress. When people talk about exploration and mining and all those things, and then at the same time, you have the people who work in the sector. How are we meeting them? If they're happy, what is it they need? Those are things that very, very important, because outside of all the policies is how it work for the people who works there, and really risk their life and really contribute up to now largest to the GDP in this country. So I really always, not because I was a minor, it was hard for me to give it up, but like I said, everything is sacrifice. You know, getting to natural resources, giving it up. Yeah, for the people in Guyana, I did. It's tough, it's hard. I think that is one of the tough things that I had to live with.
You have broad shoulders. The time has come and gone. I keep saying this is the last, but this is definitely the last thing. I can't. Again, viewers, she's done, even though I wasn't very happy about it, but she's done a lot of press this week before me. And I know one of the things you were there talking about, yes, that's the selfish part of becoming out minister. One of the things you talked about is a kite flying initiative you're having. Of course, viewers, we're still in the Lenten season, by the way, and we're approaching the Easter weekend and the Easter season and so on. Let's talk about the kite initiative. Is it a kite flying initiative that you're promoting?
I'm happy that you had a minute to ask me that, so that for the viewers. You make it, you take it.
Really? Oh.
You make it, you take it.
That's the name of it.
That is the name of it.
You make it, you take it.
Now, children from between the age of 9 to 13. Primary 3, primary 4, Form 1. I didn't say parents there.
Clear, very clear.
Just outside of Jamun Drive in that area that I prepare there. The whole idea, it's about Easter, a lot of children in that community. I visit the schools, I visit all the children around there. My children do have a foundation, my daughter and the 2 boys. She, like you, she don't really want the one boy is here to at school. So she wanted him when they're all here, and then they're going to do all the big lunch and all. Okay. But she would have these ideas together with them and then ask me, Mommy, what to help. Because she wanted to run away with this thing. She got it more like a pet.
A pet, okay.
And so the activities taking place out there Sunday the 7th. Sunday coming.
That's a Sunday,
from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. So you'll be providing all the materials and things like that.
You're bringing your stuff. So
No.
You're providing
providing all the materials.
Okay.
And I have some persons there who are coming to teach them how to make the kite.
So they don't have to register or anything.
At the venue.
Remember 9 to 13 viewers.
At the venue, viewers, help me here. I'm not going to be there because when I look at them and say, man, I can think they're going to have somebody, just checking. Why 9 to 10? Because I think that the smaller
10 or
children...
13?
To 13, sorry.
Okay.
I think that the smaller children, they're going to need, more attention and because of the time. Yeah, okay. And this is the first time I'm doing something. And I think for the older boys and girls, they can handle the stuff better.
Right. They don't need it's because it's sort of a workshop.
It's a workshop. It's a kite maker to take it.
So once they finish making everything, they just take it away?
They take it away.
Okay, but 1 to 3, 2 hours, nice.
And then we have a competition.
Oh.
Who make the best kite? But that person got to make the kite from scratch. Because if we have some children who can't make the frame and everything...
They can't be in the competition?
They wouldn't be in the competition, but they still make it to take it. Because we can have frames and then, paste with them, teach them how to paste. And things like that. But for the competition, though, you got to make this kite from scratch. You're going to frame it up to get there.
Right, you got to do your framing, your paper.
Right there. We got every single thing. Right? And I got these men that make kites for sale. They come in.
They're going to judge.
Girl, God, Mosey, tell me about the man from Buxton. As soon as I come off the program, I went to Buxton. Oh, the man's a champion. The man got a nice heart. We cling. So he's going to be there. He's bringing his workers too.
Okay, so you had a lot of judges.
I had a lady brought 2 guys out from Anne's Grove by me yesterday. So when they're finished from scratch, we're going to judge who make the best one from scratch. And they can get a prize.
Wonderful.
It's all about just something for
I don't think we've ever, viewers correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've ever had that. So it really is a good initiative indeed to have them sit there and, it's basically tapping into their own creativity. So,
and then maybe like how it goes this year, maybe, who knows. Sometimes we could look at something bigger. But
and then opening it to grown folks like me who don't know how to make kites.
We gonna have a special day because we special this time. But I can tell you a secret. Views don't tell nobody. I myself today, I used to make cardio punch. But that day I can just pretend like if I'm there supervising, but I personally got tried to make a kite.
To make a kite.
I want to try to make a kite. So all the persons living in the lodge house in Ski, Meadowbrook. I got some little boys. I got a lot of friends in the area. They go to the enterprise school, the primary three,
Yes,
primary
that
four.
little school behind there.
That is primary three, primary four. Well, I got some other neighbors at the back. I don't think they meet primary three, primary four, but they don't come to me and say, Minister, remember who's your friend? Right? Remember who's your friend? We went for play park when you didn't there, so you can't tell me now for Easter. So they done hooking me up already.
Yes.
Because they want to make sure that they're there. And so we would have those. You know, some boys might be 8 years and so on, but the whole idea is that they must be able to make the kite. Somebody show them how to make the kite. We ain't got anybody. Have some young people coming out there to support, but you know, the smaller children.
Right, it's for their thing, and you know.
Definitely. So let me just give that age range. You know,
Viewers,
some support.
don't forget, it's Sunday. Before the program wraps, I'll give you the information again. Minister, it has been a pleasure chatting with you. I must say, viewers, I didn't plan to have her for the entire hour. But she was gracious enough. Yes, it's an hour. You've been sitting here. It ran by so quickly. She's been gracious enough to give me her time today, and I really appreciate it because this conversation was long in coming. You know, she's busy, and you know, I had to do some calling, but we're happy that she responded to our invitation. Minister, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us.
And thank you, Malika, for having me. And I always wish you all the best and success. I think that you does a great job. Since I know you, I just know you with these interviews and this TV and these cameras. I'm like, how Malika could do it? I'm gonna say, oh my God, she's going to interview me now. You know what I mean? Like.
Yes, but you've blended in well. You're even bigger than I am now. Viewers, if you're now tuning in, you missed a great conversation, but as usual, I remind you that this conversation will be loaded to my YouTube channel and Facebook pages before the end of the day. What we'll do, we'll take a quick break, say goodbye to Minister Broomes. Once again, thank you so very much. And we will come back. I just have about a minute or two to wrap up. This is Facing the Nation. All right, viewers, unfortunately, this is the time where I have to bring the curtains down on today's program. Indeed, it was an interesting and informative one. We try to keep it that way for you. I take this opportunity to remind you about Make It You Take It. And I think it's the first of its kind, and I think it really is a good initiative, especially for our little ones. Sometimes we get caught up in the everyday politics and governance of the adults that we forget that we have those little ones looking. So I'm really happy that Minister Broomes and her family would have come up with this initiative. Again, adults, especially if you're like me, you don't know to make a kite, don't go. Just go take your children, monitor them, and come away. It's not for you. The age 9 to 13 is a Jammu Drive. You can't miss that area. There's an entire area there, and it's from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Sunday, the 7th of April. And I think this is one of the main activities to really take us into the Easter season. Every week, you're accustomed to me giving you government statements to respond, but one of the statements the government had to use to respond to the opposition leader this week, it's basically a repetition, and we're actually fed up, but I remind you that the government has to keep responding because the government has a right to defend its record and to defend itself. But we're not going to give that opposition gentleman too much relevance on this program this week. He has had enough for the week, so we'll let him deal with that. I remind you, it's also the Lenten season for those of you who observe it. People, if you know there are people who are observing it, don't encourage them to break it and do the wrong things. Try and support them. I remind you to be good Guyanese citizens. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. And one other thing before I go, CNS radio, they're on. It's 105.1 FM, so be sure to tune in. Support Channel 6 always. And basically, that's what I will leave with you this week. Thanks for always tuning in, of course. I'm Malika Ramsey. Be good Guyanese citizens. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And again, thank you very much to the Honorable Minister within the Ministry of Natural Resources for coming on today, the Honorable Simona Broomes. This has been Facing the Nation. Thanks for watching.